Welcome to Missouri Economy Today. I'm Julie Peterson. Joining me today is David Kerr, Director of the Missouri Department of Economic Development. David, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Let's talk a little today about what the state of Missouri's involvement is in global business.
We no longer compete on a state-by-state or on a national basis. We compete every day on a global basis. Whether that be trying to compete with companies that export or that are actually doing businesses here, or whether it be opportunities for Missouri businesses to compete overseas, we certainly every day have to face the challenges of a global marketplace. We believe that there are a tremendous amount of opportunities to help Missouri businesses be successful by identifying new markets, international markets for their products and services. So we spend a lot of time working with our companies here in Missouri to identify new markets and opportunities for their products and services overseas, as well as looking for opportunities for foreign companies to invest right here in Missouri, which creates new jobs and capital investment and an economic impact to the state.
How do you measure the impact of global business on Missouri's economy, and how do we know that the global marketplace is a winning proposition for Missouri businesses?
Well, there are a number of ways that you can measure that. The primary indicator or the primary metrics that we use is the amount of international exports that Missouri businesses make overseas. We are very pleased that in 2010 we saw Missouri exports increase by over 35% over the previous year. Likewise, in the first quarter of 2011, we saw an additional 18% increase in exports of Missouri products and services overseas. So one of the ways we measure that is just the raw numbers in terms of the amount of international exports from Missouri businesses to overseas. And then we also monitor and we work very hard to attract foreign investment right here in Missouri. Again, we're looking for those companies that are looking for opportunities to establish new businesses here in Missouri, which means capital investment and means the creation of new jobs.
What are some of the barriers for small to medium-sized companies exploring the global marketplace? Is it more of a mindset that I'm just not sure that what I have or what I do is exportable, or is it just the logistics of it?
Well, we believe it's both, because first and foremost, a company that has never exported before is probably uncertain and unclear in terms of whether they think there's a market for them. Well, I think it's both. I mean, first and foremost, you have to take a look at the small businesses that may have never decided to head down that road in terms of considering whether they should export. So first and foremost, it's a mindset. They have to feel comfortable of doing something they've never done before. So certainly we want to help them make that assessment in terms of whether they're a candidate to look at international trade. Once they've made that decision to do it, to actually expand their businesses and look at international exports, then we try to provide support to them in terms of what do they need to do to be successful. Getting them comfortable with what products and services do they have that are likely candidates for exporting, and then helping them identify actual markets for their companies and for their products and services overseas. So it starts from, first and foremost, establishing a criteria and a culture that they are considering to export, and then once they've made that decision, then us providing the technical support that they need to make them successful in terms of international trade.
Let's talk a little bit about success. Can you give us some success stories of small companies that grew rapidly because of exporting?
Well, certainly, again, we are very pleased in terms of the amount of exports and the rise in exports that we've seen over the last year and a half. In fact, in 2010, Missouri saw an increase of over 35% in terms of increases from the previous year. The first quarter of 2011, we've seen an additional 18% growth in terms of international exports for Missouri businesses. So that's very exciting. But this goes as far as the large companies, or as small as there was a small meat company, a small meat producer on the Hill in St. Louis, and we were recently over there visiting them, and they had recently just signed a export trade for $250,000 for their Italian sausages and meat products to South Korea. So you can see that there can sometimes be situations that one would not necessarily expect, but there to be opportunities, and then for them to execute and being able to actually export their products and services. A very small meat manufacturing company on the Hill selling their sausage and their meat products to South Korea.
Is there any work being done to develop businesses that would serve markets that have high export potential?
Sure. One of the things that we do is provide that type of support. If you go to our website, ded.mo.gov, and click on the international trade link in our website, We have the resources through Ann Perdalis and her organization that have years and years of expertise in this area. So again, they're there to help, not by again helping prepare them and trying to make those decisions in terms of whether they want to or whether they can export, and then providing the technical support they need to prepare them to be able to do that. And then the final step is working with our international offices to identify potential markets and potential companies that they can trade with on the international basis.
And how does a company who wants to explore the global market work with the state and with the Department of Economic Development?
Well, again, if they'll contact Ann Perdalis and her international team, we will take a look at what their products are, what the opportunity, where the market exists for their products overseas. We as a state have 6 international offices. We have trade offices in Mexico, Japan, China, Taiwan, South Korea, and Eastern Europe. So certainly we will take a look at those particular markets to identify potential markets for their products and services, but then we'll expand beyond that in terms of other countries that there may be opportunities for that Missouri businesses to expand or to export their products and services into.
Great. Sounds like the state of Missouri is extremely involved in global business.
Well, certainly international exports is one of our top priorities of the Department of Economic Development as well as the governor. Because we really do truly believe that one of the ways that we can help our Missouri businesses be successful is to identify new markets for their products and services. And we think one of the opportunities are on the international perspective.
As always, great information to share. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
That wraps up this edition of Missouri Economy Today. Join us again next time for more on economic development efforts in Missouri. I'm Julie Peterson. Thanks for watching.